The next question will return to Mr. Smith. In the same genre, given a limited budget, what process will you use to select the cases to pursue?
Well, right now, the authority of the Attorney General's office is very limited. But I think that one of the things the General Assembly ought to partner with this office in doing is creating a statewide grand jury and allowing the Attorney General's office to focus on some big statewide crime issues. We do have some very serious problems with drugs in Georgia, and some of those drugs are statewide type problems. We have some very serious problems with human trafficking, as I mentioned before. And I think that you can focus in some areas, and this is the way other states have done this. There's not unlimited authority because the local DA's office prosecutes many of the crimes. But I think you can seek approval from the General Assembly to allow for statewide grand juries to focus on certain crimes that affect us. I mean, one example of this year we had one of the worst smash and grab environments in the entire country. And you probably remember seeing on the news about every other week someone else has smashed into a building and grabbed several $1,000s of merchandise and run. They were running merchants out of business. They couldn't get insurance. Businesses were leaving. And I passed a very tough law that I authored that put some teeth into that to keep people from doing it. You can solve some of these problems if you will simply allow that office to become more active.
Hey, first of all, I'm glad another Preston joins with me now in wanting statewide grand juries, since I was the first candidate that talked about that. And the fact of the matter is that requires a constitutional amendment. Due to the venue restrictions in our Constitution and our statutes, it requires a constitutional amendment, 2/3 of the House, 2/3 of the Senate. From my perspective, what that permits is for the district attorneys to do their job better. Not to take over their job, but to give them the tools to do their job better. We're at a point in place where there are sufficient roles of the Attorney General, as I mentioned before, specifically Medicaid fraud, where they're failing us. You know, where we in fact need to do a much better job representing our residents. And it seems to me that before you take more on your plate, I mean, I saw the sarcasm about, you know, the murders, etc. I mean, DAs do murders, not the AG. And the fact of the matter is there's stuff that's the express responsibility of the Attorney General that is not done well now. And you need to improve on those areas first.
Well, I mean, I think my answer is clear. I don't think we should be satisfied that government is doing enough with the roles it has in the area of crime prevention. I mean, that is one of the areas, for all the things that we are seeing government overstep its boundaries and trying to tell us how to live, you know, how to exercise, how to get everything they're trying to tell us how to live. The one area they're supposed to be doing is protecting us and defending us. We're supposed to have secure borders. We're supposed to have safe streets. That is the actual reason for government as a collective representative of the people. So I do think that it's improper to say I'm simply going to be satisfied with the scope of the office with respect to crime prevention. There's no reason why we can't allow that office to have an active role in partnership with local government in helping our streets become safer. And I just don't apologize for that. I've been supportive of statewide grand juries for years. And I do think that is something that would help our state. But the reality is, I think the perspective is wrong that says we have enough on our plate. I think we ought to say citizens should demand more and more efficiencies from their government, particularly in the area of crime prevention.
You know, the fact of the matter is every day in every county, the sheriff has inmates that are state inmates that have not been picked up. And the state gives, I think, $25 a day for that inmate. And you're subsidizing the cost of state criminal justice. The fact of the matter is the legislature and the governor have all these fees that when you pay a traffic court ticket or you go to court in a criminal case, you pay all these fines. But they go to the general fund. They don't go for criminal justice. So when you want to talk to me about increasing the role of criminal justice, the state ought to be giving local governments as well as the GBI the dollars that should be there now. They fail us on a daily basis. We are subsidizing in my county millions of dollars to pay for state inmates in that jail. So yes, if we actually got those dollars that we're supposed to get from the state, we would be able to do a lot more. The state's in the way, not local government.
The next question will return to Mr. Owens.